Okay, this is Airpack 1. We're back again, and this is a continuation of the beginner series on modifying aircraft texture files to make them your own, personalize them. Let's see, I think I left off on the last video talking about the different formats for DDS files. Alright, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to open up the, I'm going to go to my aircraft liveries. I'm going to go down to the gravel, and I'm going to open up one of my packs. Go to airplanes, down to cojones. I'm going to open up the cojones texture file, and I'm going to right click the fuselage albedo file, and we will go open with, and for now I'm going to open it with Adobe Photoshop, which is my 2D painting program of choice. I've grown up with Photoshop since it started, so that's what I use. But you can use GIMP, you can use paint.net, anything will work. It's a good idea to have at least these two here, paint.net and GIMP, and I explained the reasons why in the earlier video. But anyways, let's open this guy up. Takes a little bit here. If you're hearing a fan in the background, that's my computer fan really racing, because I have Flight Simulator open at the same time that I'm doing all this stuff. So it's really pushing itself. Starting basic, there are three formats, or three saving formats for the DDS files in that Microsoft Flight Simulator uses. And if I go up here to File and Save As, and I'm looking at TextureWorks, you can use anything. I'll show you Painter in a bit here. If I were to save this as a texture file, and a texture file, it doesn't need anything special. So I can, I showed you before, I have two different ones. I have the Intel and I have the NVIDIA, but I'm going to just pretty much stay with, I pretty much use the TextureWorks. There are some times when I revert to the NVIDIA, and the reasons are kind of quirky, but maybe later on sometime I'll explain it. But I'm going to save, go ahead and hit save. It's going to say already exists. Do you want to replace it? I'm going to go yes, and that's going to give me this option window here from Intel Works. And I'm not going to change a whole lot, but what I will do is I'm going to open this window. The options I have is color, and alpha or normal map. I am messing with the texture folder. It's color. It does not require an alpha channel, which is just a completely invisible layer that has nothing on it that certain stuff needs to set up properly on the aircraft. But for a texture file, just color. And if you see here, it says BC1 4BPP linear. If you open this up, the ones you want to be concerned about is the first one, which we're on. There's a couple more that work, but if I go here and I go to the alpha and I open it up, it didn't show up on that previous list, but here it shows up as BC3 8BPP linear. This is important, and you need to use this on a comp file. That's what's required, the format to save that file, because it adds the alpha channel automatically. And I won't even go into normal, because I don't do anything with saving out normals in this particular case. I could choose, I'm going to cancel. I could choose to file, save as, and at this point I could go down here and save as a PNG, and I could save it to my desktop. Okay, come on, get your head together. And I'll go ahead and save that to the desktop. Okay, I'm just going to accept that, and there it is right on the desktop here. But now it's in a PNG format. See the PNG down here? Now I can take this file and I can go into any other program that uses PNG files, modify it, save it back to a PNG, and then I could bring it back into Photoshop, or I could take it into PaintNet and convert it to the proper DDS format. And that's important. You have to do that in order to make these things work in Microsoft Flight Simulator. What I find myself doing a lot of times is I will have a file, for instance, let's say I'm going to open this file up in PaintNet. Okay, let's say that I was to I'm going to go down here. I'm going to add a layer. Add layer. I'm going to go to the text tool, and which is what we're going to do for our airplane. I'm going to click here. I'm going to set my font. I'm going to go down here and find a big bold font. Let's try the Hunst right here. And I want to, I'm going to switch my eyedropper over here so that my normal color is going to be white. And then I'm going to just click somewhere. Here's a good open spot. And let's take my points up to 96, I think, what works for this particular deal. Click it again. There we go. We're at 96. Okay, and I'm going to type a registration number. Let's make it N556. How about XV? Okay, that may not be a proper registration number where you're at, but that's what I'm going to use. It's a good idea when you're learning programs to learn some of the hotkeys. I use Control D, which is unselect. You can go up here to, I believe, the edit and select all, or let's see, is there an unselect here? I'm not, like I say, I'm not familiar with this program. I'm just going to go with Control D, and that's going to unselect that, so I'm no longer on this item. I'm going to choose right now to go to this little square over here, which is a selection window, and I'm going to select just this number right here. And then I'm going to go here to the Move tool. That's going to put all sorts of little circles around here, and the arrow inside the box, I could move this up onto the tail. Didn't work, did it? You know why it didn't work? I just filled that, edit, undo. I'm glad these things are happening to me. Control Z. We're back to here. I am on there. Okay. This worked before, but it's not working now for some reason. Probably because I put it on there. Nope. See, this isn't my program, so I don't normally do anything in this program. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Let's completely get out of this and redo this. I'm going to go up to this layer. Let's try this again. N556 XV. Alright. Let's go back to here. Let's go to the straight selection tool. Yeah, there I can move it. Now that's getting me the whole thing, and I don't want that. Let's go back to that selection. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Alright. So Control D to deselect it. Alright, I should be on there. I should be able to get my selection tool. Select it. Okay. I'm going to edit, invert the selection, and I'm going to hit delete. Okay. So now I should be able to, I don't find a direct selection tool on here. Magic wand, does that work? No, that just gets those items. So I'll go back up. Let's see. Control D to deselect it. And I'm going to go to here. And no. Let's go back up to here. No. And what am I doing wrong? Edit, undo. Let's go here. Ah, there we go. I was just grabbing the wrong tool. Alright, so we're going to move this up here. I can use, the coffee cup's in the way, I can use these little handles right here to size and move it over. Let's put it up here. I don't want to do that. That's for a rotation thing. Control Z is undo. Move her up here. Maybe size it down a little bit. I should be able to hit the shift key and do this equal. Yep. Alright. So now I have that in place where I want it. I'm going to hit Control D, which is going to deselect. And of course I would do that. Now I could take and copy this and put another one over on this side, which is the other side of the tail. And then I could save this out and take it into, see, File. I'm just going to save it because we are working on the JPEG that I saved to the desktop. So let me save. Desktop, it wants to save it as a PDN, which is its native format. I don't want to. I want to save it out as, let's see, PNG. And to the desktop, and I'm going to save. It's going to tell me it already exists. I'm going to go yes, save it, and go OK. I'm going to, let's see, flatten, sure, because I got, that's why, because I got two layers. Normally I would flatten them in Photoshop. I'm going to flatten out, and I'm going to close out of here. Now I have this file here that has been done in another program. I can take that file and I can right click on it and I can open in Photoshop. Change since the last opened or saved it. Oh yeah, cancel, never mind. I'm going to close this out because that's the PNG that I saved to the desktop. I'm going to go back into my folder and reopen up this DDS. I'm going to just double click on it since Photoshop's already open. I'm going to take this file now and do like I did before. I'm going to open with Photoshop. Now I have, there's my file with the registration number on it in PNG format, and here is the DDS file that doesn't have it. If I open here and I go up here to select all, and then I go to edit, paste special, paste in place. That's important because it keeps the same size. Paste it in place. Right. Oh, I messed that up, didn't I? Okay. Why? I know why. I messed out a step. Alright. Control Z. Control Z. Alright. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to go edit and copy first. That's what I didn't do. I didn't copy it. And then I will go back to my DDS, edit, paste special, paste in place. There we go. Now we got our number. This is a long way around doing a simple task that you could do in Photoshop or PaintNet and just save it into your file. I'm just trying to show you some of the different workarounds, some of the different things that you can do. So like if you want to work on a file outside of Photoshop, you don't have Photoshop, you can do that and then bring it into other programs as a layer. You can even just do, you could get yourself, let me do this first. I don't want to save these changes. Now at this point, what I would do, I would delete my background layer. Okay. And this is the new file that I want to bring in. It's already in my DDS. All I have to do is go to File and Save As. I know I'm in DDS. I'm going to go Save. It's going to tell me that it already exists, and it's going to give me option again of the right DDS format to save it. I'm not going to do that because I don't want that number on the tail. Anyways, I will close this out right now because I don't want to use this one, and I'm not going to save it. This is the PNG file that we set up, and I could take this into another program, but I'm going to go up here to Layer, and I'm going to go duplicate, or no, not duplicate. I'm going to do a new layer. Let's see. Layer 1, okay. And you see this checkerboard? I'm going to turn off the eye here, and that is a completely nothing. It's an invisible layer, and that's what that color and alpha channel adds to the DDS when it saves it. What I can do at this point is I can delete the background, get rid of that, and I can take this and I can go File, Save As, a PNG, that's what I want, and I'm going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to rename this as, let's call it, okay, transparent. I can't spell either. Transparent albedo, and I'm going to save it. Accept that. And now you see it looks like it's black. It's showing that there's nothing there. I could close that out. Now if I wanted to add, if I wanted to make up a sheet of the registration numbers, I could just go and right click on this and open it in any program. I'm going to choose Photoshop, and it comes in neutral. Now I could use a text tool. I could just grab the paintbrush and say choose the red here, and okay, and set my size to whatever I want and just paint away. And when I import this, I can import this right into that DDS file and save it, and that's the only thing that you would get in there. So to give you an example, I will open up this DDS file. Okay, I'm going to go open up what I just created. I could basically go down here if I wanted to. Let's go to the selection tool, and I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to go edit. I'm going to go copy. Then I'll go to my DDS file, and I'll go edit and paste special, paste in place. And you can see it's overlapped. It's in there. And it's neutral all the way around it. I don't have a white background or anything. And that's another way that you can add stuff to, you know, your file. As long as I'm selected on that layer, I could go Control T. Anyways, that's how it works in Photoshop. And I could move that around. I could resize it. And if you see, I'm just messing with that item, not the whole layer. And I can place it over the top of, I believe this is the lower panel on the cowling. This is the upper panel where the access hatch is at. I could put that over there. You see, and that's how it works. When I hit my old check mark up here on Photoshop, that puts it in place. And at that point, I could combine these two layers, or I could just leave it like this and save it. Let's give this a try. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to go File. I'm going to Save. I'm going to go Yes. Now let's go into let's go into Flight Simulator. There's a couple of different ways that you can look at things. This is on the top side of the aircraft, so I should be able to look at this in the hangar. So I'll go back here, and I'm going to go to my profile. I'm going to go to my hangar. I'm already on this aircraft. If I go up to this little airplane thing here, I'm using my middle mouse, my scroll bar, and I'm scrolling in. I'm going to use my right mouse key and move myself up. And you see, here's the top of that cowling, and there's nothing there. There's no changes happening until you switch to a different aircraft and come back. This is really tedious in Flight Simulator. So if I go down here to the Go Back button, My Hangar, Change Aircraft, I'm going to go down here to say the Zline, and then I'm going to go back, let that pop up. I might even go up here to the airplane and move around and look at it. Sometimes I just want to make sure that it has switched over to another aircraft. Then I will go back. I will go My Hangar, Change Aircraft. Now I can go back to the Savage Cub, Savage Gravel, go back in, grab the little airplane, move around, and it didn't happen. Sometimes that's because I'm on the wrong aircraft, you know. Go back, My Hangar, Liveries, go to Cajones, go back, doop-a-doop-doop. Come on, go back, swirl around, and there you see it. There's my change. It's on top of the aircraft. Boom. Okay. Now, on the other aspect, let's say that you wanted to get rid of that. That was on a livery and you didn't like that. You wanted to modify this to fit your style. You basically go through the same process. Only this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to preset things up. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to My Hangar, and I'm going to change aircraft now. Let's go to the Vans R7. That's close to it. I'll go back. The plane's going to pop up here, and I'll just go ahead and click this window. I'm using a track IR, so that's why the screens move around every time I move my head. And I could probably hit the old pause button. I'm going to go back to Photoshop. I'm going to go back into here. I could completely remove this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hit Control E, and I'm basically going to combine that. Now, if you wanted to just remove something, say you wanted to remove this, or you want to get rid of the white lettering up here. With this open in Photoshop, all you have to do is open up your color palette. You could do this probably in Painter or in GIMP. And I could go up here and I could select that color of the panel and go OK. And with your brush, select your brush tool. You could just go in and paint that out. Okay? That's the easiest way to do it. I could do the same thing here. I could paint this out. I'm not going to on this model, but that's an option. All I did was paint out that thing that I added to it. I'm going to go File and Save. I get my DDS format window pops up. I'm going to go OK. It's in the right format. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to go back here. Go back. I will go to my profile. and my hangar, and then I'm going to change aircraft, and I will go to the design that got rebel. Go back. This is the tedious part. This is probably makes a lot of people not want to do this stuff. Then I can go back here to my livery, and I gotta go back. Come on. And the arrow back. And it's gone. It's no longer on the top. The other way to do this, and I know this video is long, it's important, I want to get this out there. So one more shot I'm going to show you. Let's see, I need to do this so it quits moving around on me. I'm going to go back, and I'm not going to set anything up. I'm just going to go to the welcome. I will go into a flight. So let's go down here. Okay, I'm going to click not on a runway. I don't want to be on a runway. I want to be up in the air because I want to be able to see the whole airplane, top and bottom. Also, I want a time of the day to where I know that the sun is going to give me a bright light. 9:10's okay. I could probably use that. So I'm going to, let's see, set my departure out in the middle of the ocean here. And when I go fly, excuse me, sorry. This will take a second to load up. Now, mind you, I'm not flying. I'm not just going into flying. I'm just messing with painting. I could care less where I'm at, just as long as I'm up in the air somewhere, and I can move around the aircraft and see it. And I'm sure you know how to operate the controls. At least you should know how to operate the controls to get outside your aircraft. If you see I'm starting up in the air, I got pretty good sunlight and I can see all the different angles of the aircraft. So I'm going to go into ready fly. Make sure I'm in stable flight. You could do anything you want at this point, but I'm going to go outside the aircraft. And I'm going to move around, and I'm going to go focus, zoom into my aircraft. And you see, I get good light. You could even use different cameras, you know, to move around your aircraft and see what's going on. You see the top, the bottom, everything. You do want to kind of make sure you're in stable flight while you're doing this. Also, keep in mind that while you're operating your controls, you don't have any control of what the aircraft is going to do as far as up and down. Alright, I'm going to pause. This development mode, I don't know if every version of Flight Simulator has this, but you can activate this through the options panel. Or not options, let's go into general options, and it is under developers right here. If you have that, you can go in, you can turn development mode on or off. I happen to have it on, and that's how I get access to aircraft lists and stuff like that. Also, you'll notice up here it says Sdk Updates. There's an SDK, and you should open that up, install it, get familiar with it, because it tells you a lot of this stuff as far as what MSFS requires to operate. It also tells you how to manipulate and use the SDK, how to use the tools and stuff. Makes life a whole lot easier on you. It's a little complicated, but if you're just doing what we're doing, I don't even mess with it. Just having a general understanding and be able to do this, and you're fine. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to resume. Now, what developer mode allows you to do is change airplanes in flight. And you do that by going up here to the window and aircraft selector. And you can go down here and select an aircraft. Right now I'm on my cojones. I want to select something that's close. So I have to go down, and I've got a whole crap load of airplanes in here. I'm going to go up to this Husky, blended, double click on it. And it will take a second. It will completely swap out aircraft. This doesn't always work 100% of the time. Sometimes you got to go back to the main menu and start over again. But if you see, I'm now in a completely different aircraft. This is the Husky, Azobo's Husky, in one of my liveries that I painted. Same deal. I'm going to hit the pause key. Now, I'm going to go back into Photoshop where my file's at. I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to switch over to this ugly pink here. I use hotkeys so I can get my brush smaller, and I'm going to go test. Okay. I'm going to file and I'm going to save this out. Okay. Reduce my Photoshop. I'm going to go back in and resume. I'm flying the Husky. Alright. Let's give this a few minutes. Let's see if I can get this into stable flight. I want to set my trims down. I'm flying along nice and stable. The sun's up there. I'm going to go to Windows, Aircraft, and I'm going to go back down to my cojones and double click on it. Okay. If everything went right, and it did, you can see that my test is now up there on the top of my cowling. And see how that easy it is? And it's a little bit less frustrating than looking at things in a hangar. Plus out here you got plenty of light, man. You can check things out. Now, it's got kind of a glowy shine to it. That's probably the nature of the color. But another important aspect to talk about, and we'll get to this in a later video, is that text is going to take on whatever comp file that you have set up. So if it's a really kind of shiny comp file, that text is going to take up that same shininess. If you don't want your logos and stuff to be that shiny, then you're going to have to learn how to use the comp file and change that. And I'll show you how to do that in a later video. Anyways, I hope this helps you up to this stage. That would show you how that you could add your registration numbers anywhere on this airplane that you want. It's an experimental thing. You need to just get in and get your hands dirty and play with this stuff. Make mistakes, but make backups. That's the way it works. That's how you have a happy tabbing. You are happy adventure at this. Is you make backups of your files. That way, when you screw something up, and you might open this up and you see a bunch of gobbledygook, how do I get back to that? Well, you got a backup, and you always put that backup in. Anyway, I'm going to close out and on to the next video. Talk to you later.